The Sheltowee Trace, 343 miles of beautiful trail, winding through Daniel Boone National Forest in Tennessee and Kentucky. In April 2021, I attempted to set the unsupported, fastest known time to through hike the whole trail. Although I wouldn't finish, I hiked, swam, and limped my way along until continuing on would endanger my life. Here's the story. According to the Unsupported FKT rules, you're not allowed to resupply during the hike. I decided to bring 10 days of food and wouldn't be able to pick up any more during the attempt. I would need to average 35 miles a day, so I would need to be light and fast. Lighter. No, even lighter. There we go. On 8 a.m., April 2nd, 2021, I set out from the southern terminus of the Sheltowee Trace, the Burnt Mill Bridge trailhead, heading north. Okay, I'm about a mile or so in. I'm super thankful that my wife was able to bring me down here yesterday. We got to stay at a hotel last night. She dropped me off at the start, so it was nice and warm and didn't have to stay in a tent or something overnight and sleep outside the night before. That's awesome. The downside of today so far is this flooding. It's been happening, I don't know, 4-5-ish days ago. The Big South Fork was, I think, about 35 feet higher than it is on average this time of year. That's the highest in recorded history for this river. It was super high. Massive flooding, and it came up over the trail. I'm really glad I wasn't down here then, because I would not have been able to hike at all. I would have been swimming. But thankfully the river's gone down since then. I don't know if you can tell or not. There's a bunch of sand and some kind of like quicksand stuff that the river left up here on the trail. There's some debris piles. So far it hasn't been too bad, but I can tell it's slowing me down a little bit, but that's fine. I don't plan on going too far today. I don't want to start out too fast. I'm thinking probably 31 miles or so for today, and that's going to be it. So thankfully there have been a few people on the trail before me who have kind of tromped down through some of this debris. This is Swimmer's Rapid on the Clear Creek. Most of it is covered up right now. Okay, so I ascended up away from Clear Creek and I'm out of the flooded area. It really wasn't too bad. I'm happy about that. I'm on this perfect trail right now. Easy to hike. I'm making good time. I can't help but think though about what's up ahead on this trail as far as the flood damage, because I'm going to continue following the Big South Fork for a while, and there's other waterways in the area. So I saw on the Sheltowee Trace Association's Facebook page that some of the bridges were out, the small hiker bridges, and so I'm gonna have to find a way to cross those waterways. My pack, I've got it down to, when I started it was 35 pounds. So it's a little bit heavy, but for 10 days of food at about 5,600 calories a day, it's not a bad weight. I think my base weight is just over 9 pounds. And that includes almost 2 pounds of power banks, because I made the somewhat controversial decision to not bring any paper maps on this trip. I don't have any paper maps, and I don't have a compass. I think this is the first backpacking trip I've ever really done that on. Carrying maps of the entire Sheltowee Trace and a compass is nearly a pound of weight. And I'd have to take those battery banks anyway, because I got to keep my GPS charged for FKT verification purposes. And I'm going to be using my phone to film and take pictures and stuff. The advantage of being able to use my cell phone for navigation is that all I have to do is pull it out and tap the locate me button and make sure the blue dot's on the red line, and I don't have to do much thinking. I think that's the way to go for a hike like this if you're trying to set an FKT. But I feel like if you're just hiking for fun, it makes a lot more sense to bring paper maps and a compass. I'm getting ready to drop down into Honey Creek Canyon, which has got to be one of the coolest parts on the whole trace. I'm excited. So I just had to get my feet wet for the first time down in Honey Creek. And I can personally attest that the water is about that cold. I think a lot of people who go for these FKTs, if they fail, it's for a similar reason a lot of the time. They go out way too fast at the beginning. So my strategy is going to be try to hold back on the reins for the first day or two and do lower mileage and see where I'm at and see how my body's feeling. And also the reason for that is because I haven't ever done any kind of distance like this before. So I don't really know how my body's gonna behave. So today's just an easy day, almost like a warm-up day. Probably go for 30 or 31 miles. I am on the O&W Bridge, almost 5 hours in. Setting a good pace for today. A little under 3 miles an hour. I love the big South Fork. This place is so pretty. Check this out. Yeah, so that's Leatherwood Ford. I haven't seen the water this high, and I'm down here this time every year. The trail has been pretty difficult to find through here, just north of the bridge. But I kind of know where it's supposed to be, so I'm just walking on sand. It's not really visible a lot of the time. There's some stuff from the flood, and we are so far above the river right now. At least 30 feet up here. Well, I just climbed over that, which is in the trail, right in the middle. It's crazy with the flood debris and the mud and sand, and the fact this is the big South Fork, so these are some technical miles and my heavy pack. My miles are coming slowly today. Hopefully I can even get to 31. And I am already 2/3 of the way up this cliff face, and there's that above me. So cool looking. Yeah, so I had to drop my pack back there on the Sheltowee and run out here for like a minute and a half off the route just to see this. So worth it. This is Angel Falls Overlook. If you're hiking the Sheltowee, definitely make the little bump out and see this view. It's about 5 p.m. right now. I'm getting close to Bandy Creek. Had to take some pain meds, and those have put a spruce in my step. That's some performance enhancing drugs right there. Extra strength Tylenol. Love that stuff. So I just forded the Black House Branch, I believe, creek a suspiciously high number of times. I could see a couple blazes and I didn't know where the trail went in between. The sun's going down behind the hills. It's not really that late yet, but I don't have any direct sunlight here. And that water is freezing. I can't feel my feet right now. Hopefully I'll get feeling back in 5 or 10 minutes and I can stop messing around with these creek crossings. Well, I spoke too soon. We are not done with the crossings. It's almost worth it though. This is the bridge over Station Camp Creek. I'm about half a mile away from my 31 for the day. I've been hiking next to Station Camp Creek for the last few miles. It goes right by the Sherritt Creek Lodge, which is an idyllic little place. I wish I could stay there. And this creek is just beautiful as well. Oh, it's morning of the second day. I made it 31 miles last night and stopped. I bedded down in some tiny little flat spot, just big enough for my body, right next to Station Camp Creek. Slept really well. I think I got over 9 hours of sleep. It felt so good. I woke up just in time this morning to start hiking without a headlamp. But somebody had come along at night and play the old freeze my shoes solid trick on me. So I had to hike like a quarter mile this morning without tying my shoes after I struggled to get into them. I was just able to tie them a minute ago, but the laces were still frozen, so I'm gonna have to retie them here in a few. Okay, watch the sand come off this tree when I hit it. All that dust is from debris from the river. That's the trail right there. There's a lot more to go through. So I'm moving pretty slowly today. I'm not trying to go slow. I'm trying to jog in between all these piles of debris. But I'm gonna stop a lot and route find around stuff. There's quite a bit of mud too, like shoe sucking mud. So these miles next to the river are gonna be fun today. So I was able to get away from the river, climbed up a little bit, and I'm making good time now. Just, I'm almost done with a big hill here, and I've been averaging 3 miles an hour up the hill, so that's encouraging. Hopefully I'll be able to bang out 34 miles today. I'm gonna go a little further than yesterday, but still not too far. So I know every time I film some scenery, I'm saying, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so pretty. And that probably gets annoying after a while. So I'll just take this and present it without comment. There's nothing better than a good view and some Dorito dust. So I came to this road here, and that's the trail I came from. And then here on the opposite side of the road, there's no Sheltowee blaze here. Got John Muir. Where is it? John Muir. Some other stuff. So is this the Sheltowee Trace or not? And what I found is that what you're looking for is the nails. If you see the nails, there used to be a blaze there. And that's what I'm following most of the time. Because people come in apparently and steal the Sheltowee blazes. And it's super annoying because I'm constantly having to pull out my GPS and see, am I on the right track or not? I can't visually follow the trail very easily, especially near roads and anything that's fairly populated. I really wish they would use paint to blaze this. People can't steal paint. I love these no horses gates because I know that beyond them we're gonna have good trail. So I was all set to just rocket up this creek, but it is amazing. I keep stopping to take pictures and video. So gorgeous. I wish I could stay down here for like 6 hours. So I'm trying to bring the most calorically dense food I can bring, like 150 calories an ounce. I think my average with all my food was 148. So Nutella helps with that. And I just put some in a baggie, bite off the corner, and then pipe it out. That's so good. Here's the dark side of the Nutella though. A lot of it sticks to the inside of the baggie, and because this is an unsupported attempt, I'm not allowed to throw away any trash. Because trash cans would count as support. So rather than carry all this unnecessary weight out, I'm turning them inside out and licking the Nutella off the inside of the bag. I'm not going to make you watch that, but I want you to know that I'm doing it. I think I'm going to make my mileage today. I think I'm going to be able to make 34 pretty easy. But looking at tomorrow's mileage, I was planning on doing about 37. And if I do that, about 14 of those miles are going to be right next to the river, which were the miles this morning that gave me such trouble. And there's no way, I mean, just those 14 miles is almost a full day's of hiking with how slow they go. So that's a little bit discouraging. I don't think I'm going to be able to make my mileage tomorrow. But after that, I think I leave the Big South Fork for good. which I love this area, but I'm trying to make miles right now and I don't need flooded trail. That's the bridge covered in mud from the flood. Okay, so it's starting to get dark. I've basically got my mileage in for the day, but I've decided I'm gonna do an extra mile or mile and a half today to make tomorrow's load a bit easier. So got a little bit further to go. Whoa, man, I'm in the flood mud. It's crazy. Sometimes it's slippery and sometimes it's not, and you never know which it's gonna decide to be. Also got a pretty bad pain in my right knee and my right elbow. Hopefully that goes away with some sleep. If not, I think pain meds should be able to take care of it. But everything considered, my body's holding up really well. So I'm happy with how things are going.